All right, here we go again. Had a little technical difficulty before, so we decided we'll just start all over. But today we're talking about the issue of this ongoing unnecessary war in Iran that we're actually fighting for Israel, in my opinion. Now, a while back, Trump claimed that the federal government can't take care of child care. We don't have enough money. We don't have the resources, according to him. And I'm going to let a lot of you MAGA people didn't believe it. Said that it was Democrat talking points, and it was all made up. But listen to it here out of Trump's own mouth.
The United States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up. But it's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things. They can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal.
All right, so this is out of his own mouth. We can't take care of daycare. Now think about the irony in that. We have no money to take care of daycare. The states should do it themselves, according to Trump. But we've spent billions, multi-billions, on this war, this unnecessary war that nobody asked for. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And this coming from the president who ran on America First, taking care of America First, focusing on America First. Well, if you want to focus on America First, you got to focus on the children and focus on Americans. There was no fucking reason for us to go to war in Iran. There was no fucking reason for us to take action in Venezuela against Nicolas Maduro. I heard or watched the news report earlier where they were interviewing a Trump pundit claiming that Maduro had international arrest warrants out for him, and The Hague had put out a bulletin that Maduro needed to be arrested for war crimes and international crimes. But none of that was true. Benjamin Netanyahu, on the other hand, is an international war criminal, and he actually has warrants out for his arrest. But he's welcome to visit America, and America won't arrest him. America won't bring him to justice. Why? Because it's obvious America is complicit in Netanyahu's war crimes. And I wouldn't be surprised if eventually the International War Crimes Tribunal doesn't issue warrants for the arrest of Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, Vice President JD, whatever. What's JD's like? I don't even know this motherfucker's last name. Why? Because he's insignificant, in my opinion. Marco Rubio, JD Vance. There it is, JD Vance. All of them need to be arrested for war crimes. Will it happen? Nope. I don't even believe it's going to happen after the Democrats take back over, because that's going to happen unless the elections have already been rigged or unless there is a open coup d'etat come November, I think the Democrats are going to sweep the House and the Senate. And if that happens, they better do what they should have done years ago. Investigate, arrest, and incarcerate these criminals that we have running our government now. And that goes for Republicans and Democrats. Anybody who is complicit in this bullshit that we're dealing with now needs to be brought to justice. They do. And Democrats are better at that. Democrats have always been better at holding Democrat politicians accountable for their actions and misgivings. Republicans, on the other hand, not so much. I mean, it's obvious. We have a 34-time convicted felon in the White House, an adjudicated sexual deviant, predator, rapist, or whatever you want to call him. He's been that. He's been convicted by a jury of his peers. Unfortunately, it was only in civil court because the statute of limitations had run out on the criminal side of his case. But something needs to be done. How is it that we can't pay for daycare? In fact, I often wondered, and I'm going to, let me see. How much would it cost to fund daycare in America? So let's check that out. Let's see what the numbers are. All right, so it gave me a local answer. Let's see. What about on a federal level? All right, so as you already know, we spent multi-billions of dollars. Okay, so on a federal level, obviously, the federal government doesn't set daycare prices, but wow, this is a hard number to find. What if we had a national daycare budget? What would it be? Maybe that's the wrong question to ask, but I just really want to find out. Let's see. So universal daycare to cover all children from birth through age 4 would cost between $140 billion and $200 billion per year. Per year. Okay? Now, how much has the U.S. spent on warfare in, let's say, the past year? All right. Okay, so the United States has spent $1.05 trillion on the overall national defense, an additional 37.5 billion specifically on direct combat operations during the past year. Okay? We could fund daycare. Okay? We could easily fund daycare. We could reduce our national reduce the national military budget by let's say 300 billion, and create a national daycare system. We could do that. We could do that because at $1.05 trillion a year on defense spending, we are by far ahead of the rest of the world in spending for warfare. Think about that shit. We can spend $1.05 trillion a year plus an additional $37.5 billion for direct combat operations. We can spend all of that money to kill, but we can't spend $200 billion a year to feed our children. That is so sad. It's criminal. It's criminal. Donald Trump claims that, the federal government, should only be responsible for defense, defending the country against potential attack. We were just fine. Our military has been just fine for decades. For decades, our military has been the most lethal, most advanced, most capable military on the planet. And now, even with this $1 trillion in spending, we're still at risk because the Chinese, on a much, much, much smaller budget, are overtaking our military capabilities. They're spending on aircraft carriers. They're spending on missiles to kill aircraft carriers. They're spending on nuclear attack submarines. They have the world's largest, I believe they have the world's largest standing army. The People's Army is bigger than the entire population of the United States. So let's just get that out there. They got more people in their military than we have in our country. And I know the propaganda likes to tell you that China is suffering real bad. Their economy is in free fall. And how many of you have been to China? I've been to China. And granted, yes, China does have a lot of issues to deal with as far as human rights, so forth and so on. But let me tell you, there are parts of China that are so far advanced, so far ahead of life in U.S. cities. It's sometimes it's unbelievable. You have to see it. You have to see it. And then here's another thing. How can China's economy be in such bad shape? Think about this. When pretty much 90% of the world buys their products and manufactures their products in China. China is like the world's largest warehouse. They are the warehouse to the world, the manufacturer to the world. Hell, 70 to 80% of our products manufactured in China. But China's this big enemy. You know, they're this big evil monster that we should be afraid of. If they were that truly, then why is it that our billionaires here in America manufacture so much of their product that they sell here in these United States? They manufacture that shit in China. How is it that so many countries buy their products from China? Make it make sense. I've asked that questions for probably the last 25 years or so. Oh yeah, it's great to have Made in America. I'm all for Made in America. Trust and believe. However, Made in America means almost 4 to 5 times the cost, because American workers want to get paid a living wage, because it's like super expensive to live here in America. It really is. As compared to many other places around the world, America is we're unaffordable now, really. I don't know how people are making it, day to day. Child care costs in America are astronomical because of liability insurance and the cost of goods and other services that a lot of daycare centers and child care centers require to operate safely. Shit costs a lot in America, and that cost is often, passed on to those needing the services. I've seen people paying, more for monthly child care than they pay for rent, more than their mortgages. I know of people that are paying up to $500 a week per child for child care. It would seem to me that child care would be the business to get into. You know what I mean? Hell, I thought about opening up a daycare center, called Pop Pop's Place. You know what I'm saying? I thought about that shit. I think it'd be a great business venture. And I do believe that there are ways to do it affordably. Not only affordably, but more efficiently. With as much money as we spend on childcare here in the U.S., why don't we have 24-hour childcare? Because there's a lot of Americans that work overnight. Too many Americans work overnight. We got Americans working multiple jobs. We have so many latchkey kids here in this country, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense that a kid has to come home from school, let themselves in, fix their own dinner, and do all the things that parents, would normally be doing because their parents or their single parent household is out working, trying to pay the bills. It's crazy. It's crazy. Here in America, the wealthiest nation, arguably the wealthiest nation. I personally feel like that's been bullshit for a long time as well, because our money has no value. Our money is counterfeit. Our money has no collateral backing it. They say, the world wants the American dollar because they know it's backed by the full faith in something or another. But there's no collateral. There's no money. There's no gold in Fort Knox, people. They've lied to us about that for so many years. But it's crazy, It's crazy. I'm going to reiterate this. The total national defense budget is $1.05 $5 trillion. That's a 17% rise over the previous military budget. But we can't pay for daycare. $200 million a year is what it would cost to have universal health care, universal daycare. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. We have to get thoroughly involved this November. We got to get some people in office who are truly America first. And we can start by cutting off funding to Israel, because Israel has had us tied up in quagmires for the last 40 years, longer. Bullshit. Our sons and daughters are dying for a foreign government. And I don't know if the rumors are true, but I've heard rumors that there are those in our government that are looking to combine our military with the Israeli military. How? How? Somebody called me anti-Semitic this past week because I said, fuck Israel, free Palestine. I got nothing against Jewish people at all. Understand that for any Jewish people that happen to come across this stream or happen to come across this video later. I have no problem at all with who you worship, how you worship. I'm not a religious dude at all. You know what I'm saying? So when I say fuck Israel, I'm not saying fuck the Jewish people. I'm saying fuck Israel, the government. The Israeli government is a genocidal, homicidal, crime-filled, corrupt organization, right alongside the United States government at this point. And I know some of you won't like to hear that, and I know there are those of you out there that will say, I hate America, which couldn't be farther from the truth. How could I hate my homeland? I love my country. I just don't like what the fuck my country does. Because my country is doing some real dumb shit recently. And we got to get it straightened out. That's just the facts, y'all. That's just the facts. I didn't even want to talk about the political climate anymore. I want to change my whole format, and get back to entertainment and music, and fun things. But there are some things that we just can't stop talking about, that we have to get involved so that we can save this country from itself, really. We have to save ourselves from ourselves. And I include myself in that because I am an American, born and raised. Don't call me African. Don't call me anything. I am an American. This is where I was born. I hear some of the dumbest shit every day that comes across my feed and all across social media. Some of the most idiotic bullshit is out here, and people are focused on the wrong thing. We need to be focused on our humanity, our compassion, our empathy. We need to be focused on making life better for all of us. Instead of waking up every day worrying about who we're going to be at war with, who we're dropping bombs on, who's dropping bombs on someone. We got to get past this bullshit. It's just sad. It's so fucking sad. And the next generation is going to inherit our bullshit. And I'm afraid of what this country is going to look like when my kids grow up. My kids are grown, but I meant my grandkids. When my grandkids grow up, what is this world going to be? What is the United States going to be? Is there going to be a United States? Because with the way things are going now, hell, we might destroy ourselves. We just might. So, how do we fix it? How do we fix it? We fix it by getting involved in our broken system and working as hard as we can and as smart as we can in fixing our broken system, and not letting these thieves and criminals and these corporations, the 1%, we got to stop them. Because make this make sense. How is it that you're going to allow a criminal billionaire dictate to you what's best for you while making your daily life even worse? How? How is it that you feel like this motherfucker who has never walked a day in any of our shoes can relate to anything that we're going through, anything that we're dealing with, when they, many of them, have never experienced what life is like as a normal person? And there are a lot of billionaires out there that came from nothing, started at the bottom, and they forgot where the fuck they came from, because they got to where they're at by exploiting the very thing that they came from. And that's the saddest part. That's the saddest part. We got to do something, people. We got to do something. Keep in mind that as long as you sit back and do nothing, as long as you sit back and not participate, or as long as you drink the fucking Kool-Aid, we're going to have what we got. Unless enough of us come together, enough of we the people come together and say, you know what, we're sick of this bullshit and things need to change. Think about it. We can't pay for daycare, but we have plenty for warfare. Does that make sense? Ask yourself that question. And then ask yourself, what the fuck are you going to do about it? I'm your man's Ken Jackson. This has been the Ken Jackson Experience. Coffee with Ken. You all enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm not coming back tonight. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, if my eyes open in the morning. And we'll see you next time. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Share it. Like it. Don't like it. Whatever. Do what you feel honestly. All right? I will never spam you. I don't have shit to sell to anybody. I just like to share my thoughts. And hopefully I can touch a few of y'all out there to get motivated to help change the lives of all of us. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out.